A strong hold over current affairs is your way to succeed in the UPSC Civil Services examination. Brace yourself and get detailed coverage of relevant news both nationally and internationally. With the monthly current affairs revision program starting from 26th October at 5 p.m. Enroll today and elevate your current affairs knowledge with comprehensive coverage of current affairs compiled through relevant sources such as the Hindu, Indian Express, Economic Times, Biotechnology, and others. Expert support and personalized mentoring. Comprehensive assessment through MCQs and mains-oriented questions.
Hello and welcome to this edition of News Today. Without delay, let's have a look at the headlines first. India-Spain joint statement released. ISRO and Department of Biotechnology join forces to advance space biotechnology research. CERT-In releases advisory on online scams. Institute for Energy Economics and Financial Analysis reports released India's hunt for critical minerals. Greenhouse Gas Bulletin released by the World Meteorological Organization. Pradhan Mantri One Bandhu Kalyan Yojana completes 10 years. In a significant development, we focus on the recent India-Spain joint statement released following the significant visit of the President of the Government of Spain to India. This visit marks the first by a Spanish president in 18 years, highlighting the strengthening ties between the two nations. Now, let's delve into some key outcomes from this important visit. First up is defense manufacturing. Both countries jointly inaugurated the C-295 aircraft final assembly line in Vadodara, a collaborative effort between Tata Advanced Systems and Airbus Spain. This partnership underscores the commitment to enhancing defense capabilities. Shifting gears, we move to investment facilitation. A fast-track mechanism has been established within India's DPIIT and Spain's Directorate General of International Trade and Investment, aimed at promoting mutual investments. This initiative is expected to significantly boost economic ties. In terms of consular expansion, a Spanish consulate will soon open in Bengaluru, while an Indian consulate is set to operationalize in Barcelona. This development will enhance diplomatic engagement between the two countries. Furthermore, let's talk about cultural cooperation. A cultural exchange program has been launched for 2024 to 2028 alongside the declaration of 2026 as the India-Spain Year of Culture, Tourism and AI. This initiative aims to foster deeper cultural ties and understanding. Now, let's take a moment to reflect on the broader context of India-Spain bilateral relations. Diplomatic relations were established back in 1956, and since then, the significance of these ties has grown remarkably. For instance, in defense, cooperation has been strengthened through the India-Spain Defense Joint Working Group, with notable projects like the C-295 aircraft manufacturing in India. In terms of economical and commercial growth, Spain ranks as India's sixth largest trade partner in Europe, with bilateral trade reaching an impressive $9.9 billion in 2023. Lastly, both countries share a commitment to multilateral and global cooperation, supporting each other's United Nations Security Council candidacies and addressing pressing global challenges such as climate change, counter-terrorism, and sustainable development. In conclusion, the outcomes of this visit signal a promising future for India-Spain relations, reinforcing their commitment to mutual growth and cooperation.
In a major step towards advancing space exploration, ISRO and the Department of Biotechnology have joined forces to boost space biotechnology research, a field critical to sustaining human life in space. Let's dive into why this collaboration is significant and what it entails. Space missions face numerous challenges. From the lack of continuous availability of nutrients, waste management, and preservation of food issues, to the impacts of microgravity and space radiation, which can lead to health risks like cancers, cataracts, and muscle and bone loss. Here, space biotechnology would study how living organisms adapt, function, and evolve in microgravity conditions so as to advance space exploration and human survival. So, what are the applications of space biotechnology? Let's break it down. First, microgravity research in space can lead to high-quality protein crystal growth, enhancing understanding of structures for precise drug development. Then, there's radiation research. An example here is NASA's BioSentinel program, launched in 2022 on Artemis 1, will predict how human cells will repair double-strand breaks in response to ionizing radiation in space. Next up is environmental monitoring. Microbial studies are exploring ways to use space microbes for bioremediation, which could one day help convert the regolith on Mars and the Moon into soil suitable for growing plants. Disease modeling is another promising area, helping scientists better understand and address the challenges astronauts faced long-duration space missions. Lastly, we have bioregenerative life support systems. It enables self-sustaining missions through waste recycling, advancing Earth's sustainability and resource management solutions. In terms of initiatives, India is making strides with Axiom 4 and the Gaganyaan mission. Globally, we have NASA's Space Biology program, the European Space Agency's Biolab, and China's space breeding programs by the China National Space Administration.
In an interesting development, the Computer Emergency Response Team of India, or CERT-In, released an advisory regarding the rising trend of online scams. As highlighted in their advisory, fraudsters are employing various tactics, including a concerning method known as digital arrest. According to the National Crime Records Bureau's 2022 report, titled Crime in India, a staggering 17,470 cases of cyber fraud were registered last year alone. Now, let's delve into the key advisory points provided by CERT-In. First and foremost, individuals are urged not to transfer money under pressure. It's crucial to remember that legitimate law enforcement agencies will never demand immediate payments. Additionally, CERT-In advises everyone to avoid disclosing sensitive, personal or financial information over phone or video calls, particularly to unknown numbers. Moving on, what exactly is digital arrest? This emerging form of cybercrime involves perpetrators impersonating law enforcement officials such as CBI agents or income tax officers and contacting victims through phone calls. Alarmingly, in just the first quarter of 2024, citizens in India lost approximately Rs 120 crore to these scams. The Ministry of Home Affairs has noted that this tactic has become increasingly prevalent, with many fraudsters operating from Myanmar, Laos, and Cambodia. Now, let's discuss the challenges in tackling cybercrime. A significant barrier is the lack of trained and qualified personnel to implement effective countermeasures. Additionally, there's a notable lack of awareness and a culture of cybersecurity at both individual and organizational levels. However, the government is taking steps to combat this issue. The Indian Cyber Coordination Center, or I4C, under the Ministry of Home Affairs, is coordinating efforts to address cybercrime across the country. CERT-In serves as a national nodal agency for responding to computer security incidents, while the National Cybercrime Reporting Portal has been launched as part of I4C, allowing the public to report cyber incidents easily. Moreover, a national toll-free helpline number 1930 has been operationalized to assist citizens in lodging online cyber complaints. In conclusion, as online scams continue to evolve, awareness and vigilance are key.
In our next news, we turn our attention to a critical development impacting India's economy and technological future. The Institute for Energy Economics and Financial Analysis, or IEEFA, has released a report titled India's Hunt for Critical Minerals, which highlights India's reliance on imports for essential minerals and the risk this dependency poses. The report examines 5 key minerals: cobalt, copper, graphite, lithium, and nickel, all essential components in sectors ranging from renewable energy to electronics, medical technology, defense, and aerospace. Presently, India is 100% import dependent for lithium, cobalt, and nickel, with demand expected to more than double by 2030. Now, why are these minerals so crucial? A mineral is labeled as critical when risk of supply shortage and associated impact on economy is relatively higher than other raw materials. For instance, they play a pivotal role in renewable energy production for solar panels, wind turbines, and batteries such as cobalt, nickel, etc. Electronics like semiconductors, smartphones, and computers. Medical technology such as MRIs, pacemakers, and hearing aids, also in defense and aerospace for military equipment and aircraft components. However, this import dependency brings substantial concerns. The first is strategic vulnerability, since India relies heavily on a small number of suppliers, especially China. There's also price volatility. Global demand and supply shifts can drive up manufacturing cost, impacting both production and India's renewable energy goals. Economically, rising import costs may harm India's global competitiveness and placing the renewable energy goals at risk. Prolonged dependency could hinder the country's clean energy and electric vehicle ambitions. The report suggests India must develop strategies to reduce risk associated with mineral dependencies and foster domestic production, including exploring investment opportunities in resource-rich nations such as Australia, Chile, Ghana, and South Africa to ensure reliable access to these resources. India has already taken several steps in this direction. For instance, 6 minerals, including lithium, were delisted from the Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Amendment Act of 2023 to promote private sector involvement in exploration and mining. Additionally, the India-Australia Critical Minerals Investment Partnership was established and Khanij Videsh India Limited was set up to secure mineral assets abroad. Moving ahead, let's discuss the latest Greenhouse Gas Bulletin released by the World Meteorological Organization, which brings forward some concerning observations regarding greenhouse gas levels and climate impact. This report provides a comprehensive analysis from the World Meteorological Organization's Global Atmosphere Watch program on concentrations of long-lived greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. World Meteorological Organization's GAW program monitors atmospheric composition changes and helps to understand interactions between air, oceans, and Earth's biosphere. Now, what does this Greenhouse Gas Bulletin tells us? It compares current levels of carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide with both last year's measurements and with pre-industrial levels dating back to 1750. It also provides insights on radiative forcing changes by LLGHGs like CO2, CH4, and chlorofluorocarbons. Carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide, together with dichloro-difluoromethane or CFC12 and trichlorofluoromethane or CFC11, account for approximately 96% of radiative forcing. To give you a sense of the scale, carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide levels in 2023 were recorded at 151%, 265%, and 125% of their pre-industrial, that is 1750 levels. Since 1990 to 2023, radiative forcing from these long-lived greenhouse gases has surged by 51.5%, with carbon dioxide alone responsible for around 81% of this increase. A key highlight in the report is the record spike in atmospheric methane over the last 3 years, largely due to increased emissions from natural wetlands and outcome of ongoing climate change. Additionally, the bulletin warns that climate change could lead ecosystems to release even more greenhouse gases, making wildfires emit more CO2 and reducing the ocean's ability to absorb it, further accelerating global warming and ocean acidification. For context, radiative forcing represents the amount of energy per unit area that is added or removed from the climate system. It is a measure of how much of these gases affect the Earth's energy balance. These gases trap some of the heat that would otherwise escape to space, causing the planet to warm up. Wrapping up, let us also talk about the World Meteorological Organization, a specialized UN agency headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland, has been at the forefront of climate monitoring since 1950, with 187 member states including India and 6 member territories.
In our next news update, we celebrate the completion of 10 years of the Pradhan Mantri Van Bandhu Kalyan Yojana. Launched in 2014, this landmark initiative addresses the unique challenges faced by tribal communities across India. Let's take a closer look at what Pradhan Mantri Van Bandhu Kalyan Yojana is all about. This is a center-sector scheme focused on the integrated, holistic and inclusive development of tribal communities. Its primary aim is to improve the socio-economic conditions of tribal populations while preserving their cultural heritage and identity. The initiative is implemented by the Ministry of Tribal Affairs. Now, what are the 6 key initiatives taken under the scheme? First, we have the Pradhan Mantri Adi Adarsh Gram Yojana, which targets critical sectors such as road and telecom connectivity, education and health services. This initiative aims to enhance the infrastructure in tribal areas. Next, the Development of Particularly Vulnerable Tribal Groups initiative, launched in 2023-24, which provides essential amenities like secure housing, clean drinking water, sanitation, education, health, and nutrition. This is crucial for uplifting the most marginalized groups. Additionally, there's support for tribal research institutes to facilitate research and documentation efforts related to tribal communities. This initiative plays a key role in preserving tribal knowledge and practices. Moreover, the scheme also includes pre-matric scholarships, post-matric scholarships, and administrative assistance for project management units, ensuring educational support for tribal students. Now, let's consider the broader context of tribals in India. Scheduled tribes make up approximately 8.6% of the Indian population, with over 730 scheduled tribes recognized under Article 342 of the Constitution. Notably, there are 75 identified particularly vulnerable tribal groups across 18 states and the Union Territory of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. In addition to Pradhan Mantri Van Bandhu Kalyan Yojana, there are other significant steps for tribal welfare. The Eklavya model residential schools have been established to provide quality education to scheduled tribe students from classes 6th to 12th. Furthermore, the Pradhan Mantri Janjatiya Vikas Mission merges 2 existing schemes: Mechanism for Marketing of Minor Forest Produce through Minimum Support Price, and the Institutional Support for Development and Marketing of Tribal Products to enhance marketing support for tribal products and minor forest produce. Finally, the Development Action Plan for Scheduled Tribes ensures that 41 ministries and departments contribute a percentage of their total scheme budgets each year towards tribal development.
In today's Place in News, we will discuss Georgia with its capital Tbilisi. It is in news as recently the USA and the European Union called for a probe after reports of Georgia election violations. If we talk about its political features, it is situated in the Eastern European region of the South Caucasus. It shares its boundaries with Russia to the north and northeast, Azerbaijan to the east and southeast, Armenia and Turkey to the south. Moreover, it shares its sea boundary with Black Sea to the west. In terms of its geographical features, its highest point is Mount Skara. Its mountain ranges include the Greater Caucasus Range. And lastly, its major rivers are Inguri, Rioni and Kodori. And lastly, if we talk about its conflict regions, then those include Abkhazia, South Ossetia and Ajaria.
As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. A recent study shows evidence of turmeric adulteration with lead chromate across South Asia. Turmeric is a rhizomatous herb which is cultivated extensively in Asia, India, China, and other countries with a tropical climate. Over 40 migratory birds died at Sambar Lake in Rajasthan. The name Sambar is derived from Shakambari, the 2,500-year-old tutelary deity of the Chauhan Rajputs. Justice K.S. Puttasamy, the petitioner in right to privacy case, passes away at 98. Supreme Court in K.S. Puttasamy vs. Union of India case in 2017 ruled that right to privacy is a fundamental and inalienable right with reasonable restrictions. It is protected as an intrinsic part of the right to life and personal liberty. The Prime Minister said over 60,000 Amrit Sarovars were constructed across villages for future generations under the mission Amrit Sarovar, launched in 2022 as part of India's Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebrations for the 75th year of independence. Workshop for drafting Ayurveda process handbook concludes at NCI-SM, a statutory body constituted under NCI-SM Act 2020, comprising of 19 members, including 1 chairman, 15 ex officio members, and 3 part-time members, with the aim to improve access to quality and affordable Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha, and Sova Rigpa medical education. Recently, custodians of herbal traditional knowledge from Jammu and Kashmir and Gujarat were granted herbal patents. These knowledge holders interact within their ecological system and possess deep understanding of local flora accumulated through experiences, experiments, and wisdom. Recently, a new complex of India's first biomanufacturing institute named BRIC, National Agri-Food Biomanufacturing Institute, was inaugurated at Mohali in Punjab. It was formed through the strategic merger of National Agri-Food Biotechnology Institute and the Center of Innovative and Applied Bioprocessing. Studies found that the island of Taiwan is highly suitable for reintroduction of the clouded leopard species, which prefers dense evergreen forests. Clouded leopard have distinct cloud-shaped patches on their pale yellow to brown-colored fur that camouflages them in dense forests. The species is found in Southeast Asia, including India, China, and Malaysia. Before we sign off, let's challenge your understanding in today's installment of Test Your Knowledge. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this episode of News Today engaging. For the solutions to the quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description.